For the second time, Donald Trump has declined his presidential salary to the applause of his fans.
That if I'm elected president, I'm accepting no salary. Okay, that's not a big deal for me, but
A lot of people, however, responded with a collective eye roll. Why? Shouldn't this be celebrated? Well, no, and not just because it introduces new conflicts of interest. Let's put it in perspective. It's really hard to grasp the scale of self-dealing in the current administration, so let's scale it down. We'll use a preschool favorite, Cheerios, to help us out. Let's say this Cheerio equals the presidential salary. I'll round it up from 400,000 and say it represents 500,000. This Cheerios box represents taxpayer dollars, all the same scale, of course, with each Cheerio equaling $500,000. You'd actually need many, many boxes, but we'll stick to one. So when Trump declined the salary, or rather donated that money to federal agencies of his choice, he effectively put this Cheerio back in the box. But here's the thing. The story doesn't end here because Trump has used his position of power to enrich himself in ways that the United States has never seen before, like nothing even remotely close. So let's start with the way in which Trump uses federal dollars, and we'll start with one of the most visible examples: golfing. Because of his preference to golf at his own properties, the estimated cost to taxpayers of Trump's outings during his first term alone was $141 million, and that doesn't even count non-golf personal trips and vacations. In contrast, Obama cost taxpayers an estimated $90 million over 8 years for all trips, golf included. A number which still merits criticism, I would add. Now, I'm not giving these Cheerios to Trump because it's more of a reflection of reckless spending of taxpayer dollars than money he used to enrich himself. Except, the government, including the State Department and the Department of Homeland Security, spent millions of taxpayer dollars at his resorts for lodging and amenities. So based on the most conservative estimates, I'm adding a few $1 million to Trump. Trump's businesses, which he refused to divest himself of as president, breaking decades of practice by his predecessors, got a huge boost from his time in office during his first term. Trump businesses received at least $13 million from foreign governments. But at the end, this from Trump's first term is all small stuff. This time, he's going for billions. Trump has made at least $350 million from his meme coin so far, which has no actual value other than courting favor with the president. In one of numerous examples of corruption, Trump pardoned Paul Walzak, a nursing home executive who illegally withheld millions from his workers' paychecks while buying a luxury yacht. The pardon came after his mother attended a $1 million per person meme coin investors dinner at Mar-a-Lago last month. She bought a pardon for her son, full stop. Trump has personally benefited from his tariffs, which he has used to extort foreign governments. In a recent example, Vietnam negotiated for relief from heavy Trump tariffs by greenlighting a $1.5 billion Trump golf course there. Tariff chaos, of course, also raises major concerns for insider trading.
He made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million.
Then there are huge conflicts of interest with big dollar investments from foreign countries into Trump companies. The United Arab Emirates, for instance, invested $2 billion in Binance using the Trump family's stablecoin. Billions of dollars were placed by Qatar in Trump family real estate developments there. Then, of course, there's the gift of the gaudy 747 luxury jet worth $400 million, which will actually cost the U.S. approximately $1 billion to retrofit, and which is left for Trump's personal use after office. We'll put this one right into the Trump pile. This is a clear and direct violation of the Emoluments Clause of the Constitution, and nothing like this has ever been seen in American politics. Even the gift of the Statue of Liberty required a vote of approval from Congress. The worst violation of the Emoluments Clause that I could find was when President Eisenhower lost his chief of staff because the man had accepted an expensive coat and a valuable rug from a favor seeker. This is a far cry from the gift of a luxury jet for our Marie Antoinette in chief. In other words, there is no historical precedent for any of this. Okay, but what about Hunter Biden? It's shady, to be sure, and it merited investigation. Hunter Biden traded on his father's name and made as much as $11 million doing it. But the Republican-chaired committee that went looking into the matter found no link either to President Biden's decisions or to his personal bank account. What about Nixon? He abused his power when he bugged the Democratic National Headquarters and abused it further when he tried to cover it up. But this corruption was about power, not self-dealing. He gets 0 Cheerios. There have been scandals, to be sure, But self-enrichment, especially to anything even approaching this scale, is unheard of. I hope I've convinced you that this is no small problem, and based on what we're seeing, that it's likely to get much bigger. So how do we stop it? Well, it starts with congressional oversight. Investigation of corruption this flagrant should be taken up as a non-partisan issue. Congressional committees can subpoena records, hold hearings, and introduce legislation to enforce compliance or limit financial entanglements. Also, Congress should pass legislation requiring new presidents to divest from private holdings and to disclose certain financial dealings while in office. What else? Well, the Securities and Exchange Commission should investigate questions about securities fraud, market manipulation, and self-dealing associated with meme coin, cryptocurrencies, and tariffs. As far as national security is involved, the Committee on Foreign Investment has the power to review and block foreign investments in U.S. business if they pose a national security threat. Finally, pressure from media and from the public. Attend protests, write and call your legislators, go to town hall meetings, and vote. And share this video to help people understand the scale of what we are seeing, especially with your friend who likes to boast about how Trump declined his salary.